Rupa Kadha Mahyam Tadati Swapadantikam. Okay, Hariam Tatsat. So chapter 8, chapter 9. Chapter 8, just summary here. So the Devatas have approached Vishwarupa to receive, as to become the priests by which he can empower them to win, have the strength to challenge the Asuras. So chapter 8, Vishwarupa teaches them the Narayan Kavacha. Narayan is the name for the Lord, and Kavacha means like shield of protection or armor. So he teaches them a mantra by which he teaches them how to basically put on an armor that's invoked by mantra. And the whole chapter is just saying what mantras on what parts of the body you have to place and invoking different names of the Lord to protect different parts of the body, the head, eyes, the nose, the ears, the knees, the legs, to seeking protection at different times, different places, different spaces. And then the chapter ends with Indra using the mantra and defeating the Asuras. And then we approach chapter 9. So we're gonna go to chapter 9 here. We'll try to go up to the first passage, which is basically all the way up to verse 28. What we're going to hear is that Indra became paranoid, that Vishwarupa was also giving oblations to the demons, so he kills him. He repents, he goes to the forest for 1 year, does austerities. He purifies his body by giving his sins to 4 entities on the earth. The father of Vishwarupa is very angry. He generates Vitrasura out of his anger. Vitrasura is very, very much a force to be reckoned with. He's defeating all the Devatas. So then they begin to offer the prayers to the Supreme Lord so they can be saved from Vitrasura. So this is all taking place on the first passage up to verse 28. So we're going to read through some of the verses here. Okay, let's check this out. Then we'll make comments along the way. Then we'll look at the prayers a little bit more deeply. So Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued. Vishwarupa, who was engaged as a priest of the demigods, had 3 heads. He used one to drink the beverage somarasa, another to drink wine, and the third to eat food. O King Parikshit, thus I have heard from authorities. O Maharaj Parikshit, the demigods were related to Vishwarupa from his father's side, and therefore he visibly offered clarified butter in the fire while chanting mantras such as Indraya Imam Swaha, this is meant for King Indra, and Idham Agnaye, this is for the demigod of fire. He loudly chanted these mantras and offered to each of the demigods his proper share. Although offering clarified butter in the sacrificial fire in the name of the demigods, without the knowledge of the demigods, he also offered oblations to the demons because they were his relatives through his mother. So Vishwarupa's father is Twashta, his mother's name was Rochana. So she was given by the demons to Twashta. So this means So he was also inclined towards the demons. And Lord Brahma had also informed them of that before they took him as a priest. So he's showing an inclination. So very loudly, he was saying the mantras for the Devatas, and underneath the breath, he was also giving share to the Asuras. So Indra finds out about this. So once upon a time, however, the king of heaven, Indra, understood that Vishwarupa was secretly cheating the demigods by offering oblations on behalf of the demons. He became extremely afraid of being defeated by the demons, and in great anger at Vishwarupa, he cut Vishwarupa's 3 heads from his shoulders. Thereafter, the head meant for drinking somarasa was transformed into a kapinjala. I don't even know how to say this word. Francolin partridge, some type of bird, I don't know. Similarly, the head meant for drinking wine was transformed into a kalavinka sparrow. and the head meant for eating food became a tititi, common partridge. Although Indra was so powerful that he could neutralize the sinful reactions of killing a Brahmana, he repentantly accepted the burden of these reactions with folded hands. He suffered for 1 year, and then to purify himself, he distributed the reactions for his sinful killing among the earth, water, trees, and woman. So, is this the particular verse? Yeah, he's made an action due to the fear. So fear is very dangerous because it makes one act in ways that are against their principles. Aside from that, we're also conditioned in so many ways that the force of conditioning makes us act in ways that are against our principles as well. So in devotion, this verse is very important. Jata Shraddha Makatasu Nirvina Sarva Karmasu. Veda Dukatmakam Kamam Parityage Api Anishwarai. I haven't quoted this verse in a while, but I like to quote this verse. This verse is talking about bhaktas who are in the beginning stages of the evolution, devotional evolution. So Krishna says this to Uddhav. Jata Shraddha Makatasu. So one is awakened faith in my kata. Due to sadhu sangha, you get the sadhu sangha, you develop the faith in Hari Kata. Nirvina Sarva Karmasu. And one becomes disgusted with all karma. Nirvana means like disgust. Pious karma also and sinful karma. What to speak of sinful karma? Even the pious karma, what is this piety? So that's why you hear devotees always criticizing the mode of goodness or criticizing things that are actually good. Especially when we're young and idealistic, we'll criticize it. What is this nonsense? Because nirvana sarva karma, so you have faith in Hari Kata, you become disgusted. Disgust means you realize the emptiness or vacuousness of all material activity, whereas previously we would have esteemed piety over sin, but they're just two sides of the same coin of duality in the material world. So devotees, at least conceptually, rise above such duality in their thinking. So nirvana, and no interest discussed. Veda dukatmakam kama. One knows also that kama, the pursuit of one's own desires, will inevitably lead to sorrow. Any kama linked to matter is transformed into sorrow. What is that verse from Gita? Yehi samsparsa ja bhoga dukkha yonayavate. Right? Samsparsa ja means, sparsha means to touch. So the bhoga that is born of the touch with the sense objects, right? The eyes touch form, the ears touch sound, the nose touch smell. And from that touch, you enjoy. That is our concept at least. But Krishna says, dukkha yonayavate, that is the womb. And who is taking birth from that womb? Dukkha. Dukkha is taking the birth. So that union is kind of an interesting thing because sparsha, like the communion of the sense with the sense object, like a man and woman come together. And out of the womb is coming a child known as dukkha. So the wise do not take pleasure in that. But most of us are not wise. But if you become a devotee, you become wise. Iti matva bhajante mam. Buddha bhava samambita. Krishna says in the Gita, I'm the source of all spiritual material things. Iti matva. Anyone who knows this about me, because they've heard from Guru, that is the import and the purport. You've heard from Guru, iti matva bhajante mam, you do my bhajan. Buddha, then you are an intelligent person. That is an intelligent person, Buddha. And bhava samamita, then you gradually develop bhava for Krishna. So the devotee is Buddha, Buddha consciousness. The devotee is truly Buddha, an intelligent person, because he's heard from Guru about Krishna, he's become Buddha. So Veda Dukatmakam Kama, he knows, because he is Buddha, he's actually Buddha. So he knows that Kama connected to matter transforms into sorrow. So he's not interested in that, conceptually speaking. And there are also Kama that is connected to the spiritual world. So that Kama is glorious. The gopis' devotion to Krishna is also referred to as having the form of Kama, Kama Rupa, having the form of Kama or the beauty of Kama. Or just in more generic sense, Kama just meaning desire. So we hear from BRS, Anyabhilashita Shunya. right? So what is the meaning of this? Other desiredness should be zero, right? So the other day, Harinam was asking, what is the difference between desire and desiredness? So this word "ness" is a suffix. When you attach it to some word, it means that the thing is replete with that. So happiness means like replete with happiness. Goodness means replete with good. So what is desiredness? And what is the difference between desiredness and desire? The Rupa Goswami doesn't say other desires should be zero. He said other desiredness should be zero. So what is this desiredness? So this desiredness means other desiredness means desires that are very deep rooted, that it takes up all your faculties and your faculties become dedicated to that desire. So sometimes people have desire for money, for example. But I also desire money. That's just because I want a samosa. So I get a little, but it's not a desire that takes up my whole psyche. And all my faculties aren't dedicated to the manifestation of that desire. In the course of psychophysical existence, you get so many desires come out. Desire to go to the bathroom, desire to do this. Or the example given by our acharyas is that maybe you're in a very dangerous situation. Suppose someone sticks you up by gunpoint. So you say, Krishna, Krishna, so you had another desire, this Krishna service. You wanted to save your own body. No, that does not count you out of the realm of pure devotion. That desire is not a core desire. It is a desire that comes up in the course of psychophysical existence. Not that your whole being is made up of that desire and all your faculties want to pursue that. Just in the course of psychophysical existence, so many things come up. So that doesn't discount you from the culture of pure devotion. But the sort of desires that take up all your faculties where you become kind of fixated on that thing should become zero. So Rupa Goswami says, Anya abhilashita shunya. So other desiredness should be zero. But that means that there's a desiredness that is accepted. So what is the desiredness that is wanted? So that is kama. The desiredness for bhakti, the desiredness for Krishna, communion with the Lord. That desiredness is wanted, where all your faculties are dedicated to the manifestation or to the receiving of the gift of devotion to God. So anya means other. So other desiredness. So that means there's a desiredness that is wanted. So that desiredness is also kama. So kama connected to matter transforms into sorrow, and kama connected to spirit transforms into bliss. So that desiredness is wanted. So Veda Dukhatmakam Kama, the devotee knows that this kama will lead to dukkha. So parityage, the word parityage means the devotee is also trying to give it up. Because he has faith, he's just, he knows the emptiness of the karmic pursuit, he knows it leads to sorrow. So parityage means he's trying to give it up. But api means although he's trying to renounce it completely, parityage, tyaga means to give up, and pari means completely. Although he's trying to renounce it, anishvara. So this word is very important. Anishvara means he is not in control. He's not the Ishvara. We are life, even if you're a devotee, is very humble because we are not the controller. So we don't know anything can happen to us. The context here is that anishvara here, the context means that like our daiva, our karmic inheritance. Devotees don't have karma, but we're just going to describe it like this first. Our karmic inheritance is like a force to be reckoned with. And even though we try to swim against the current of that force, you may become overwhelmed. I always like to give the image of taking a bath in the Himalayas and the Ganga. So they have the chains there. You have to hold on to the chain when you take the bath. If you let go, then and who knows where you'll end up, probably dead. Here in Kali, they went to one river here in Kali for excursion, and Manu was here, and they weren't supposed to go inside because the current was too strong because they had been storming for days and days, but he somehow got too close and he slipped into the river, and the current just carried him down very rapidly. The devotees couldn't even see him. Finally, he made it to some rock, and he was like kind of holding on. The devotees had to do a rescue mission, and they all became very close because of that. Michael Wagner, one of our dear friends, he was here. So he was head of the expedition, head of the rescue mission. And so they all became very close because it was a life-threatening situation. So, and they all kind of survived it together. So they all became very close after that. It was very kind of sweet to see. So like this, the current of our daiva is very forceful. And so who knows, anything can happen to you. Anything can happen, just like we're hearing Indra, right? So here we're looking at Indra's, what a nonsense guy. You may think like that. We gotta be careful because these people are very special to Krishna. So you gotta be careful how you think about these entities. But you may think like this, oh, what a nonsense. He cut Vishnurupa, said this guy was out, whatnot. But he was afraid. And the force of his fear made him lash out. Who amongst us can say that we are so pure that if given the same sort of circumstances where our fear was heightened suddenly, that we wouldn't just lash out? And very hard to resist. That is Anishvara. I am not the controller. That's the force is very powerful. I used to ask devotees this all the time in New York, because New York, a lot of devotees are progressive in their thinking when it comes to social issues. So during the Trump's era, they're all the time complaining about Trump. Every issue in life was due to Trump. If you didn't get to school on time, it was Trump's fault. Everything was Trump's fault. So I used to sometimes ask some of my more progressive friends that provided suppose you were in Trump's position, you had all that money, all that influence, all that power underneath your head. Who amongst us can say that we wouldn't be influenced by that? That we wouldn't. I actually thought about it. If I was the president of the United States, first of all, chaos. But I was thinking to myself, I would want to do good. And I said, one of the first things I would do is stop cow slaughter. Like somehow I got fixated on that. That would be the first thing that I would do, is stop cow slaughter. But then I took this thought a little bit further. If I had to really stop cow slaughter, when so many people are attached to eating beef, what would I have to do? And there's so many industries there. I said, I probably have to do some killing. So I went that far. I was like, some people will probably have to die, but it will be for the greater good. So I'll make an arrangement, blow this place up, blow that place up, kill a few people for the greater good. What is the problem? And then as I was thinking like that, I was like, wow, these guys might actually be thinking like that too. They have some concept of a greater good, which may be completely demonic, but some concept in their head. And they're doing whatever it takes to fulfill the greater good. So then I was just thinking, yeah, that's how corrupting power is. You come under the force of these forces of nature, such as fear. Fear is a force of nature, part of the tamaguna. It's a force of nature. You come suddenly under the control of it. So who can say that we're so pure that we can remain above it all? It's very hard. No one can say that. That's why when anyone gets too strong, I'm like, I can't believe they did it. Why can't you believe it? Are you not human? Anything that is most human is most believable. I can do anything. The murderers, all these things are possible for any one of us. And you don't know what is your inheritance in this particular life. So think about it like this. All possibilities are possible for all entities, especially in human birth. So you can embody the tyrant archetype. You can embody the womanizer archetype. You can embody, all possibilities are there in the soul that is conditioned, all possibilities. And you don't know in this life, what is your karmic inheritance? So what possibility is going to manifest in your life? You don't know. And then suddenly you're under the force of that potentiality and you lash out. So the devotee is Anishvara, he does something crazy like this. So then Krishna says, Toto bhajata mam prita, that my devotees should remain happy. Of course, there's two reasons, because the devotees don't have karma. So even if you think like that also, then that means Krishna is doing something for that devotee. We're encouraged to think like that if we want to be Krishna conscious. Sometimes devotees ask us, how do I know if it's karma or how do I know if it's Krishna? It doesn't matter. If you're a bhakta, you should know it is Krishna. Well, I'm not so pure. It doesn't matter. You'll become Krishna conscious by thinking it is Krishna. And that is the purpose, to be Krishna conscious. So Krishna is doing, Daiva also means Krishna. In the 5 factors of action that Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, Daiva being the most important one. So you can take Daiva as karmic inheritance. That is how it is understood in relationship to the non-devotees. But in relation to the devotees, Daiva is Krishna actually, the super soul. So Krishna has done something in my life. Like I like to say a lot, he's providing a falling upward situation. The way up is down. So Krishna, you like standing on the precipice of progress. Huh? It's the precipice of progress. That's an interesting phrase because the precipice means like a cliff. So it's a precipice of progress, but you're scared to jump or you refuse to jump because you're comfortable. And Krishna did. So externally, it looks like you're going down. It looks terrible, but you're going the upward direction, but the way up is down. So you some falling upwards. So Krishna said, my devotee should remain happy. Tato Bhaja Tamam Prita. Should do his bhajan with happiness and and with faith and determination, he should punish anything to matter because of being Anishvara. Then he said, my devotee sincerely repents that. So now that he's enjoying like gleefully, yeah, woo! He's not enjoying gleefully. He's forced. This harder. So you can be humble or you can be humbled. So humble means you taking control in a sense, and humbled means Krishna's got to take control. This guy's a little bit, he's okay, let me push him forward. So the devotee sincerely repents. He's not that he's enjoying, he repents. So Indra is also a devotee. So this is coming up in the commentators. Indra is also a good guy. He's a devotee. Now he's a mixed devotee. Related because so he's a mixed devotee, but he's still in that famous verse, Krishna is to Bhagavan Swayam. Indradi, because no one ever committed to memory. Krishna's, Ete Changsha Kalapam Sam Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. Versus Indradi something, not remembering. In any case, all the avatars that Sutta Goswami mentioned, they are or of Pusha. But Krishna is Godhead himself, Swayam Bhagavan. And that Swayam Bhagavan, so these Purushas appear to kill the enemies of Indra. So Indra is a special personality. So Indra is a devotee, but he's a mixed devotee. So that mixed devotee means this verse I just quoted from Uddhava Gita. It's getting these situations. So he's repentant. He's still a good devotee. And remember, the whole theme of the sixth canto is Poshana. So the word Poshana literally means like nourishment. And it refers to how Krishna is nourishing his devotees who are struggling in the psychophysical dimension. And that's why the first story is Ajamil, who's a devotee, as he chants Harina. Right? The next story is this Indra story that we're hearing about. So Krishna also protects him. And the next story we'll hear is of Vitrasura and Chittaketu and how the Lord protects him. This is the major theme in the sixth canto. So now we've heard about the Poshana of Ajamila. So now we're going to hear about the Poshana of Indra. That's what we're hearing about now. So Indra is making, I see the connection is a little, is it better? Is it back? Is it coming? I don't know.
It was better for the last couple of seconds. It got choppy in the middle, but now it's good.
Yeah, I don't know. Somehow I just gave a class for Bhakti Center in my room. Somehow it was very nice. Now I don't know why it's like this. Okay. What was I saying? Where are we at? The Poshana. The Poshana. So Indra's a good guy. That's what I'm trying to say. So how could he chop off the head? You could also chop off the heads. It's quite possible. Anyone can do it. All potentialities are in us. We also learned this in the case of the Yamadutas, when they were asked by the Vishnudutas who is suitable for punishment in this world. And the Yamadutas gave philosophical answer. They said everyone, because everyone is acting on the goodness of nature, and therefore everyone is suitable for punishment. It's Buddha, right? You're good. You're doing right. But when you're in Thomas, who knows what will happen? So he's a good guy. So for that reason, Indra repents and he goes into the forest and performs some austerities. So let's read on a little bit here. So although Indra was so powerful that he could neutralize his sinful reactions for killing Ramana, he repentantly accepted the burden of these reactions with folded hands. He suffered for 1 year, and then to purify himself, he distributed the reactions for his sinful killing among the earth, water, trees, and women. So this part's a little bit interesting. King Indra's benediction that this and the earth would be filled automatically. The land accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions for killing a Brahmana. Because of those sinful reactions, we find many deserts on the surface of the earth. So that is the cause of deserts, it seems. Interesting. This is why it's also considered places where the river doesn't flow, and deserts, they're considered places of sin. So one should not live in such places. I always think of like Dubai and these places. LA, yeah, the West Coast. Yeah, LA is actually a really good example. Yeah. LA is actually a really good example. Okay, so in return for Indra's benediction that their branches and twigs will grow back when trimmed, the trees accepted 1/4 of the reactions for killing a Brahmana. These reactions are visible in the flowing of sap from trees. Therefore, one is forbidden to drink the sap. Is that maple syrup? Wow. Next verse. In return for Lord Indra's benediction that they would be able to enjoy lusty desires continuously, even during pregnancy, for as long as sex is not injurious to the embryo, women accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions. As a result of those reactions, women manifest the signs of menstruation every month. Don't ask me about that. I'm just reading Bhagavatam. It's telling you. And in return for King Indra's benediction that water would increase the volume of other substances with which it was mixed, water accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions. Therefore, there are bubbles and foam in water. When one collects water, those should be avoided. So after Vishwarupa was killed, his father, so anyway, Indra repents, he goes into the forest, he performs austerities for 1 year. He purifies the elements of his body, and he distributes his sins amongst his four. They agreed to accept him in exchange for the benedictions that they got. So after Vishwarupa was killed, his father, Twashta, performed ritualistic ceremonies to kill Indra. He offered oblations in the sacrificial fire, saying, "O enemy of Indra, flourish to kill your enemy without delay." So this was a little bit of a typo. And new mantra recitation, a little bit of an error. So he wanted to kill Indra. So he wanted to increase the strength of the enemy of Indra. So the enemy of Indra, the fire, increase his strength. But the mantra, he said, "May the enemy Indra strength increase." A little bit of a typo, and it was just like it was literally one syllable. So in Vedic mantras, they have accents. You know, some should be high, some should be low, longer, shorter. And then this is how the Vedas are preserved. When in the Vedic literatures, all the accents are mentioned, like written in the manuscript itself. And when you learn the mantras, you have to learn all those accents to precision. So if there's even one little defect, you can get opposite result. So this is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Nehavi krama nashosti pratyabhayo navitite." So this is Krishna talking about Buddha yoga and or bhakti yoga in context. So he's trying to encourage Arjuna to embrace Buddha yoga or bhakti yoga. So he says that there is no loss or diminution in the performance of this activity. So this way Krishna wants to distinguish Buddha yoga from karma. So in karma, there is loss if you don't complete the action to the end, right? And there is diminution if there's a defect in the action, then you get a different result, a diminished result. But in the acts of Buddha yoga, there is no loss or diminution, means that even if you don't complete it all the way to the end, there is no loss. Whatever progress that you're making, you keep and you can continue to make progress. As Prabhupada would say, if you're 50% progress this life, 51% next life, you continue to make the progress. And if there's defects in your application, because of bhajana pakwa, you're immature in your bhajan, so you make some mistakes, there's no diminishing of that. Of course, if you do aparad, that is another thing. But generally speaking. So that is very nice. That's very encouraging. Swapama piyasa dharmasya, even a little bit of advancement in this dharma will protect you from the greatest fear. Tarate manotopai. This is not true of karma. So this example of Twasha is always given when making this sort of point. So Twasha in this, they made a little slight discrepancy. Whatever. Little tiny little discrepancy. So he got the reverse effect. So the power of his enemy was increased, and then the creature will come out of the fire, Vishwasura. He will be killed by his enemy. So there's some comment there also that actions informed by anger. So Tasha was very angry because he lost his son. So the action informed by such wrong result. Allow yourself to come to a state of equilibrium, a state of peace, and then a position of strength. People don't realize this, but peace is a position of strength. They think that if you're a peaceful person, then you are weak. But peace is a position. Even when I was growing up, we would watch the martial art flicks. I love martial art movies even now. And the coolest thing about the warriors is how peaceful they were when they were fighting. Looking very calm. I imagine but psyche, that is a position of strength, and then you're able to make decisions that are result. So here he's informed by anger, so he's in a compromised position. It's producing a result. Okay, we're going to do a little bit more here of the passage. So thereafter, from the southern side of the sacrificial fire, known as Vaharya, came a fearful personality who looked like the destroyer of the entire creation at the end of the millennium. Like arrows released in four directions, that's the next image. The demon grew after day, tall and blackish. He appeared like a burnt hill and was as lustrous as a bright ray of clouds in the evening. The hair on the demon's body, and his beard and mustache were the color of melted copper, and his eyes were piercing like the midday sun. He appeared unconquerable, as if holding the three worlds on the points of his blazing trident. Dancing and shouting with a loud voice, he made the entire surface of the earth tremble as if from an earthquake. As he yawned again and again, he seemed to be trying to swallow the whole sky with his mouth, which was as deep as a cave. He seemed to be licking up all the stars in the sky with his tongue and eating the entire universe with his long, sharp teeth. Seeing this gigantic demon, everyone in great fear ran here and there in all directions. A very fearful demon whose actions son of Twasha covered all the planetary systems by dint of austerity. Therefore, he was named Vitra, or one who covers everything. So the demigods headed by Indra charged the demon with their soldiers, striking him with their own transcendental bows and other weapons. But Vitra struck with wonder and disappointment. Upon seeing the strength of the demons, the demigods lost their own strength. Therefore, they all met together to try to please the super soul, the supreme personality of Godhead, Narayana, by worshiping. And now, starting with verse 21 to 28, the prayers of the devatas begin. The first, I'm going to pause 750 or 850. I don't usually like to go past 9 and see if anyone wants to say anything first before we continue.
I have a short reflection.
Sorry, I'm looking at all the comments about maple syrup.
Oh, yeah.
Carry on.
Hence we have to drink corn syrup. On this point about how Indra is also a devotee, I was just hearing this nice lecture by Radha Govinda Maharaj, and he was saying how when Krishna was born and Vasudeva was carrying him through, from the jail cell in Mathura to Vrindavan, and he was going through many, many details, like why the guards fell asleep and why the river took a fierce form and why the river separated. But he made this interesting point. There was also a gentle pitter-patter of rain throughout Mathura as Vasudeva was carrying Krishna, through, out of the prison and towards Vrindavan, because Indra thought to himself, although Yogamaya has put everybody to sleep, still the sound of rain is very soothing. And we definitely don't want anybody to wake up, including the guards or any of the residents of Mathura. So let me also unleash a little bit of gentle rain in the area so that people will continue sleeping. So anyways, imagining the same point that Indra is also a devotee and Krishna comes to defeat his enemy. So I was thinking about the point you made. That was it.
Nice. That's a very sweet story. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. That's why devotees, we have to be careful about the ninda. So sometimes the bhaktas have two sides to them. They have we're supposed to get inspired Vaishnava. The human side means all the idiosyncrasies and, questions like this. Anyway, so the devotee has the inspired side and his human side. So the human side has all the idiosyncratic patterns. So to the inspired side. Now, sometimes the idiosyncratic side is such that if you are around it, you will commit the offense. So in that particular regard, we're advised, Krishneti Yashagiri Tamana Sadrita. So then you should respect from a distance in the mind. But you should actually respect from the mind. Even if sometimes it happens with the guru. So this is, the guru is doing, it looks like the guru is doing something that's a little weird. So instead of just outright rejecting your guru, which is the common practice, I think that, maybe Krishna is doing that. Maybe a following upward moment for that devotee. He may also be making progress. So while Krishna is doing his work with that devotee, maybe I have to keep my distance so Krishna's magic can go on in the life of that particular devotee. But I still guard to that devotee, my guru, because he also has done his responsibility to me. Again, he rooted me in the worship that is by which I can make progress towards the absolute. So I'm eternally indebted to such a person. I should maybe keep some distance. And that way, until you rectify your own thinking, your own tendency for ninda, and this way you can. I forget the phrase Prabhupada used in Ishopanishad, that we are deceived by appearances. So you say, Indra is. In fact, in that same verse, so you respect the mind of this devotee. For the devotee who's taken diksha, you offer obeisances. But the devotee you surrender to is a devotee who is free from ninda and the other sort of aggressive qualities that come up with ninda. He is bhajana vigya, he is expert in bhajan. And his expertise is exhibited by his ability to avoid ninda. So ninda is a very dangerous thing. So especially the devotees like Indra. Okay. So any other comment anyone wants to make? It's already the 9 o'clock here. Yeah, so okay, yeah. So Darudar Maharaj.
It seems that karma is Krishna's law
Karma is Krishna's law
to purify us.
to purify us.
So why, if we become a devotee, should we take away the karma?
So why, if we become a devotee, we should take away karma.
And we've heard in that story of Mandaka Muni that actually same action was reduced.
Hmm.
That action is more consciousness.
Actually,
Near the Hati in the Shabbat.
was my understanding and realization about karma and the rule of karma. I guess part stands is it says in Bhagavad Gita, someone one, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Did it come back?
You're back now. You're back now. Could you restart the answer to Maharaj's question, please?
Yeah. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Samaham Sarvabhuteshu Name Dveshosti Napriya. And his feature is the Paramatma. He says, I'm equal towards everyone. All the jivas, I have equality towards them. I don't favor one or oppose to another. Ye bhajanti tu man bhakta. But those who are my bhaktas, I am in them because of attachment to them, and they are in me because of attachment to me. So I kind of view karma as the laws that are set up by Paramatma, so to speak, to govern the conditioned souls. Whereas when it comes to devotees, Krishna is taking personal interest. Yogakshema Vahamiya. Yogakshema means, Vahami means I carry. So I'm literally carrying my devotees, or in other words, taking personal responsibility in their life. So I know there's this one purport in the 5th canto, chapter 8, I think it's verse 26 or verse 28. So it mentions, this is in relationship to Bharat Maharaj. So in the actual Sanskrit of the verse, it says Bharat Maharaj got attached to the deer because of his parabdha karma. And so the commentators spend a lot of time there trying to explain, well, I thought the devotees don't have parabdha karma because according to Rupa Goswami, Kleshagni, it removes all the kleshas, which includes the parabdha karma.
Haribol, we lost your Kleshagni.
I don't know what to do.
We just lost your Kleshagni. Could you just pick up from there?
Which is given by the Kleshagni means the destruction of the kleshas, which includes parabdha karma. So Bharat Maharaj could not have any parabdha karma. He was at the stage of to the conditioned souls, and that which is given by. So understand is, I guess my conclusion of it is that the difference between karma as God's law, karma as God's personal responsibility in the lives of his devotees. So there's still that categorical difference there. God takes responsibility because he's neutral towards the conditioned soul, versus God taking personal responsibility. So it may still look like karma, but it's like, if I'd be permitted to give this example, Prabhupada also gives it. It's like a mom giving you a whooping versus a false giving you. So when the mom gives you a whooping, it's still, the belt is used in both cases. But when the mom is giving the whooping, she is taking personal responsibility for the improvement of the character of her child, whom she loves. So when the parent gives the whooping, and the child. And so that's how I kind of reconcile. The same reaction can come.
We look at it like, now it's under Krishna.
Yeah.
But because it's his law to purify you, why won't he use that law?
Right. Right. So since it's Krishna's law, he can do what he wants with it. So he's using his law, but he's taking personal responsibility. And it's what's the word? And it's meeting it out, or in its application. That makes that can reconcile. And it's interesting because a lot of devotees, in the Bhagavatam at least, when they express humility, they always say due to my karma. Like for the, they don't just say it's Krishna. They also say that in other prayers. They say due to my time in this situation. So many verses are like they always almost universally say this is my karma, to express that humbleness. But they also know that Krishna's hand is involved. So it is Krishna holding the belt, so to speak. This is the reaction. I need to do something. Karma, giving out. I need to do it. You have to do it in a certain way. You give it, but you have to give it in a certain way that the enlightenment of my devotee will come. So in that way, you can kind of put all the principles together. Okay, I don't know. Maybe try turning off the video. Yeah, we're gonna pause there because I don't know why the connection is so choppy today. I'm supposed to be in the area that's better for the connection also.
Are you turning off your video? Maybe that would help. Also, so is the conclusion to what you and Marge, what you're saying in response to Marge's question, is that the karma is Krishna's law, and he can use it to purify his devotees, but basically he's taking charge. He's personally using your karma to purify you. Is that the essence of what you were saying?
Yes.
All right.
It also means that Krishna can also take away completely. So that is also a possibility. But devotees, we should not be so entitled that we think that now I become a devotee, therefore I should get no karma reactions. There's this one purport in the 22nd chapter of the fourth canto, where Prabhupada says, sometimes my disciples write me letters that, Prabhupada, why am I getting sick after becoming a devotee? Prabhupada, why am I getting sick after becoming a devotee? And Prabhupada says, my nonsense disciples don't realize even their own spiritual master is getting sick. So, but Krishna can also take away, but we should not feel that we are entitled to such divine dispensation. Rather, the devotee thinks whatever has come to me is coming from my beloved Lord and deity of my life. That's how we become Krishna conscious. And that way, every challenge in life becomes an opportunity to, as they say, show your metta, prove your metta, show your love. Just like in Prem Samput, the example is given of an elephant, excuse me, of a lion. Prema is compared to a lion. So just as a lion will defeat the elephant and then nourish itself on the elephant. So prema or bhakti defeats all challenges that come this way, and it is nourished by the challenges. It becomes an opportunity to demonstrate ahaitukya pratiyata, that mentality. A pratiyata means no matter what obstacle is coming, my bhakti will remain unbroken. As a demonstration of my ahaituki quality, the quality of not being motivated by anything else other than the pleasure of Krishna. So, yeah. Krishna can also take away, that's what I'm trying to say, but we're not entitled to that. Rather, we should be more or less, this is Krishna says in Gita, the Kshatriya is ecstatic for opportunities for war that come unsought. So in the same way, the devotees should become blissful. Jaya, this new challenge has come. This gives me an opportunity to demonstrate to my Lord that I'm serious about him and not about my own gratification. So in this way, we kind of try to get the mentality of pure devotion. Good luck to us all. All right, I'm going to stop there. Connection is wishy-washy. It's already also 9:07. So we'll pause for the day. I'm traveling back to the States this weekend, so I'll see you guys on Monday from New York City. Krishna willing. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thanks a lot. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hari Bolo.
Thank you, Prabhu.